Have you ever watched a Hollywood stars go from red carpet smiles to all-out courtroom warfare practically overnight? That's exactly what's unfolding between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. One minute, they were teaming up for a film adaptation of a beloved novel, seemingly an unstoppable power duo poised for box office glory. The next minute, their partnership exploded into a spiraling mess of lawsuits, accusations, and behind-the-scenes leaks that have left fans, insiders, and the media gasping for answers. But what really happened to turn a much-hyped collaboration into a spectacle worthy of a primetime drama? This story begins on the set of It Ends With Us and unravels into a never-ending storm of legal battles, hidden messages, and clashing egos. Stay with me, because each step of this roller coaster ride is more jaw-dropping than the last. And by the end, you'll see why Hollywood may never be the same. When word first got out that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were joining forces for the film adaptation of It Ends With Us, the buzz was electric. Fans of Colleen Hoover's novel were over the moon, picturing the on-screen chemistry that these two talents could deliver. Casting rumors flew around social media, with tabloids breathlessly reporting that Lively and Baldoni had all the ingredients for a blockbuster success. Both came into the project with sterling reputations. Blake was the beloved fashion icon and household name, and Justin was a multi-talented actor and director known for heartfelt projects. But from the very start, faint whispers suggested this partnership wasn't the dream collaboration it seemed. According to a few well-placed sources, there were creative differences on set even before filming hit full swing. This might sound normal after all. In any production, disagreements happen. Yet these whispers carried a sharp edge, hinting that the friction wasn't just about scenes or scripts. Something deeper lurked behind the bright smiles and carefully managed press statements. Tensions reportedly simmered during script readings, with each star trying to bring their distinct creative vision to life. Blake, known for her strong opinions about character development, allegedly felt she deserved more say in the direction of the film. Justin, on the other hand, was determined to stay true to the source material and keep the adaptation on track, especially since It Ends With Us was a personal project he championed from the start. As these two equally driven personalities collided, the seeds of conflict were planted. At first, these disputes played out quietly, hidden behind closed doors and excused as regular production hitches. Yet, if you listen closely to the chatter, you'd hear talk of short fuses, raised voices, and ominous references to serious disagreements. It didn't take long for rumors to start swirling that Blake and Justin had moved beyond mere creative tension, heading toward a potential legal meltdown that no one saw coming. Little did they know that every small clash on set would soon be overshadowed by something much bigger and far more damaging. But that wasn't the whole story, because just when everyone thought the worst-case scenario was a flop at the box office, new allegations kicked the controversy into overdrive. The real trouble exploded when talk of unprofessional behavior and harassment accusations reached the media. Suddenly, the question wasn't whether Blake and Justin would salvage their working relationship. It was whether someone had crossed a line no one in Hollywood should ever cross. One camp insisted Justin Baldoni had harassed Blake Lively. The other claimed Blake was exaggerating or even fabricating to wrest control of the project, as if she wanted to dominate every aspect of the production. For many on the outside, the shock was immediate. Blake, beloved by millions for her witty social media banner and glamorously relatable persona, found herself embroiled in charges she clearly didn't want to discuss publicly. Justin, admired for his empathetic approach to storytelling, was suddenly labeled a possible villain before fans could decide who to believe. Both sides began lawyering up, and the severity of the rift became impossible to ignore. Blake's camp spoke in carefully crafted statements suggesting she was a victim of a toxic on-set atmosphere. They insinuated that Justin had overstepped boundaries, turning what should have been a safe creative space into a set overshadowed by power imbalances. Meanwhile, Justin's team slammed these accusations, painting him as a director trying to maintain professional standards in the face of star-level meddling. According to Justin, Blake had tried to steer not only her own role, but the entire production, using her Hollywood influence to push him aside. The tension escalated so quickly that everyone from online fans to industry insiders started debating the hidden details. Some corners whispered that a major blowout took place on a rooftop set complete with shouting, tears, and dire threats. Others shrugged it off as rumor-mongering or the standard friction you'd find in any big-budget project. But the difference here was the deeply personal nature of the allegations, especially once the phrase harassment entered the picture. Hollywood watchers knew that any claim with that word attached could end careers, shatter reputations, and trigger lawsuits that would hog headlines for months or even years. And what happened next would shock everyone, because no one was prepared for how fast these rumors would transform into official legal papers, each side loading up with explosive evidence to prove the other was at fault. The calm before the storm shattered when news broke that Blake Lively had filed a lawsuit accusing Justin Baldoni of misconduct and emotional distress. She alleged that his behavior on set and subsequent private communications crossed every line of professional decency. Everything from text messages to voice notes was cited as evidence that he'd orchestrated a campaign to undermine her credibility. Hollywood was instantly abuzz. Celebrity news sites churned out round-the-clock coverage, dissecting every sentence from the court documents. Experts chimed in, analyzing the potential fallout for both stars if Lively's lawsuit held merit. Baldoni's credibility as both an actor and director could be done for, On the flip side, if Blake's claims fell apart, her reputation is. A truthful advocate might take a catastrophic hit, then came the countersuit. Justin Baldoni's legal team filed their own set of allegations, painting Blake as an overbearing star determined to hijack the project for her own gain. They insisted she was the one crossing ethical boundaries, using threats and behind-the-scenes manipulations to influence the film's direction. According to Baldoni, this wasn't just a clash of egos, it was personal sabotage aimed at his career. The media frenzy only intensified when Ryan Reynolds was mentioned as having a role in the background. While initially framed as simply standing by his wife, rumors emerged that Ryan was quietly pulling strings, possibly even contributing to a smear campaign that portrayed Baldoni in the worst light possible. Suddenly, the alleged friction extended beyond the people to a circle of high-profile Hollywood players, each adding a new layer of complexity. As the lawsuits piled up, fans and casual observers alike were left questioning everything. How could a single movie adaptation spin so spectacularly out of control? Were these allegations genuine or overblown for maximum shock value? And most urgently, who was actually in the right, if anyone? While some folks took sides based on personal admiration, Team Blake versus Team Justin, others recognized that the truth was almost certainly more complicated, a messy combination of personality clashes, real or perceived slights, and the unstoppable momentum of Hollywood gossip. But that was only the tip of the iceberg, because even as the legal wrangling carried on, a series of private messages threatened to blow the story wide open, promising glimpses of each star's unfiltered thoughts. Just when it seemed the lawsuits themselves were dramatic enough, whispers of explosive text messages and voice recordings started circulating. According to multiple insiders, these weren't mere friendly check-ins or scheduling notes. They included heated arguments, personal taunts, and potential proof of manipulative tactics from both camps. For months, Blake's team fought to keep certain text chains out of the public eye, insisting their release would cause irreparable harm. Justin's legal crew pounced on that claim, asking if they're so innocent, why hide them? Meanwhile, rumors spread that these messages could vindicate him, showing Blake's alleged hostility or back-channel deals to discredit him in Hollywood. The speculation was relentless. Did they contain out-of-context remarks? Or did they truly hold career-ending revelations? Ryan Reynolds got dragged in further when references to his text with other listeners began popping up in official court documents. Some of those messages, if made public, supposedly revealed the behind-the-scenes maneuvering that shaped the Blake versus Justin narrative. Fans wondered what kind of inside jokes or offhand comments could be so damaging that a star couple would scramble to bury them. Could it be all fluff, or something that risked tarnishing the squeaky clean, lively Reynolds image? Then there was the now infamous rooftop apology. Allegedly, Justin sent Blake a voice note at 2 a.m., apologizing for a heated argument they'd had while shooting a crucial scene. While some saw it as a heartfelt gesture, others dismissed it as a strategic move meant to show future jurors that he was the bigger person. The public reaction was split. Was the apology sincere, or was it a premeditated piece of evidence to play in court? Many believe these hidden messages were the real keys to understanding the meltdown. After all, words exchanged in private are often far more raw than any official press statement. For each side, the question became whether such messages would help their case or blow it to pieces. In an industry where image is everything, even a single line of text can be catastrophic if it implies cruelty, deception, or willingness to manipulate the truth. But that wasn't the only ticking time bomb, because as these messages slowly trickled into public consciousness, Hollywood insiders began to realize the stakes were about more than just reputations. While Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni seemed locked in their own personal war, the rest of Hollywood started to feel the ripple effects. Power players watched nervously, aware that this dispute could rewrite how on-set conflicts and misconduct, allegations, are handled. In the past, many controversies were settled privately with hush money deals and confidential agreements. But this fiasco was too big to hide. Producers and directors wondered if they need to draft tighter contracts, explicitly covering what happens if a star or filmmaker accuses another of wrongdoing. The introduction of mandatory intimacy coordinators for sensitive scenes was already gaining steam across the industry, and it ends with us adding more fuel to that fire. If the allegations were true, it would indicate just how vulnerable cast and crews can feel when boundaries aren't clearly enforced out. At the same time, the #MeToo movement was paying attention. On one side, supporters argued that any claims of harassment, particularly in a high-profile production, should be investigated thoroughly, setting a precedent that no star is above accountability. Others cautioned that malicious or exaggerated allegations could weaponize a movement meant to protect survivors. For them, Justin's counterclaims of defamation and sabotage raised fears that real victims might face increased skepticism if false accusations became common weapons in Hollywood. Feuds. Then came the brand question. Would studios blacklist either actor? Blake, often considered one of the most bankable names in the industry, suddenly looked risky if these lawsuits revealed damaging behavior. Justin, with ambitions to keep directing, risked becoming persona non grata if the harassment accusations proved credible or if producers believed he was simply too controversial to ensure. Hollywood, always hesitant to invest millions in a tarnished brand, began recalculating how safe it was to work with either star. And the tension didn't stop there, because even as the debate raged about industry reforms, the personal stakes grew graver for both parties. Reputations weren't the only things on the line. Entire careers and massive financial deals hung in the balance. By the time the lawsuits were in full swing, everyone realized this was about more than personal grievances. Money and power underpinned every accusation for Blake Lively. Rumors swirled that her promotional deals, brand partnerships, and potential movie offers were on shaky ground. No one wanted to attach their product to a star potentially embroiled in a scandal that might overshadow any campaign. Some speculated that she'd lost out on at least one major role because of the drama swirling. The round it ends with us. On Justin's side, the stakes were equally high. He had carefully cultivated an image as a compassionate filmmaker, someone who specialized in heartfelt storytelling. Facing allegations of harassment could shatter that persona, jeopardizing his chances to direct more mainstream projects or secure the trust of future collaborators. Word on the street was that his agency representation wavered, at least temporarily, caught between loyalty to a longtime client and the fear of public backlash. Even Ryan Reynolds' brand came under scrutiny, while he often turned controversies into jokes on social media. This debacle was more serious than a light-hearted tweet can handle. Gossip columns suggested he was quietly calling in favors, trying to minimize the damage to Blake's standing and, by extension, to his own. Some believe he was indirectly fueling the tension by mocking Baldoni in personal communications, or even weaving inside jokes into upcoming projects. A claim that, if proven, would only intensify the chaos for everyone involved. These conflicts translated into potential multi-million-dollar losses. Studio executives hate uncertainty. If a star appears too volatile, or a director gets entangled in never-ending legal spats, big-budget films tend to recast or refocus. Production companies that have already poured money into It Ends With Us brace themselves for the possibility of reshoots, delayed release schedules, or even burying the film altogether if the scandal overshadowed everything else. Yet even with so much at stake, neither side showed any sign of backing down, and as the trial date loomed, anticipation across Hollywood rose to a fever pitch. When the official trial date was announced, it felt like the Oscars for courtroom drama. Every major entertainment outlet blasted the news. Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni would finally have its day in court. Speculation about potential outcomes ranged from total exoneration to career-imploding meltdown, and insiders gleefully pointed out that no matter who won, both reputations might be left in tatters. Leading up to the trial, small revelations trickled out. A documentary aired in the UK titled She Said, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, painting an in-depth and sometimes sensational portrait of the fiasco. Public reactions split into two extreme camps. Some viewers felt the documentary confirmed their biases, seeing Lively as a warrior for justice against a manipulative co-star. Others sympathized with Baldoni, framing him as a target of Hollywood's never-ending PR machine. Lawyers for both sides ramped up the rhetoric. Baldoni's team accused Blake of orchestrating a personal vendetta meant to overshadow his professional achievements. Blake's attorneys fired back with repeated assertions that no one would go to such lengths unless they genuinely believed they'd been wronged. Meanwhile, rumors suggested hush-hush meetings aimed at a settlement kept failing because neither side wanted to offer a public apology. Pride, vengeance, or principle, whatever the reason, it meant the trial was full speed ahead. The tension was so thick you could practically feel it through every news update. Fans online dissected every scrap of leaked info, from rumored new text messages to hush-hush depositions. Could a single piece of evidence sway the entire case? Would a last-minute witness appear and blow the story wide open? The internet was on high alert for any sign that someone might blink before the big day. But even as the countdown narrowed, one final piece of the puzzle remained: the question of how this trial might redefine Hollywood's attitude towards set disputes, power, struggles, and personal vendettas. By now, the animosity between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni had grown far beyond a simple co-star quarrel. It had morphed into a symbol of Hollywood's evolving standards, a cautionary tale of what happens when private grievances meet the full blaze of public attention. Whether you're a film legend or a rising star, the industry itself is shifting, and stories like this might become more common in an era where secrets rarely stay buried. Even without a verdict, the ramifications are already visible. Casting directors allegedly hesitated to reach out to either star for upcoming projects, worried about the potential for negative press. Studios that once rolled out the red carpet for Lively are rumored to be more cautious, questioning whether the blowback is worth it. And Baldoni, once seen as a creative talent brimming with positivity, is in the fight of his life to reclaim his image. Meanwhile, fans can't look away. In an age where social media blurs the line between personal and public, the blow-by-blow details of a court case can dominate timelines for weeks. Memes poke fun at each new development. Hashtags turn every hearing into a trending event. Yet behind the jokes, real questions loom. Are powerful figures manipulating the narrative behind the scenes? Did one party truly exploit the other? Or is everyone partly at fault? And will these two ever get a fair shot at moving on? Although no one can predict the final outcome, one thing is certain: the story of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's colossal fallout is already etched into Tinseltown lore. It's a modern fable about ambition, pride, and how quickly alliances can collapse when fame, fortune, and personal grudges collide, and in a city built on stories, this is one that will echo for a very long time. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni started off with a seemingly golden opportunity, a film adaptation. That had fans excited and the industry buzzing. But somewhere between the first production meeting and the final scenes, that excitement rotted into suspicion, conflict, and multiple high-stakes legal face-offs. Now, the tabloids are feasting on every slip of paper filed in court. Insiders are fueling the rumor mill with tantalizing tidbits, and the stars themselves are in a battle that threatens everything they've worked to build. Yet the real lesson might be bigger than the single clash. This saga shows how one spark, a minor set dispute, a few tense messages, or even an offhand comment can become a full-blown inferno in a place as high-profile and cutthroat as Hollywood. It's a reminder that even the brightest stars can lose their luster when secrets come out, lawyers get involved, and reputations hang in the balance. Who will ultimately come out on top? Will it be the actress who claims she was pushed past her limits? Or the director who says he was set up to fail? The final verdict is still to come, and it promises to shake up not just their individual careers, but also the entire entertainment landscape. Until then, the world can only watch and wonder, is this just another headline-grabbing spectacle, or a genuine turning point for how Hollywood handles its darkest backstage dramas? Stay tuned, because the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni legal showdown is far from over, and its impact may be felt long after the final gavel echoes in court.